Good morning, everyone. I am getting ready to dehydrate some potatoes. I've dehydrated potatoes lots of times, and I looked through my channel, and apparently I've never done a video. Maybe because it's pretty straightforward, but just in case you didn't know, I'm going to show you how I dehydrate potatoes. So I bought a big bag of potatoes at Sam's Club a couple weeks ago. It's only been a couple weeks, and I ate a couple for baked potatoes, and they're starting to get soft. They're starting to grow eyes, I made potato several different ways this week, and we're just like all potatoed out. I don't want them to go bad. So for me, the best way to do it is to dehydrate them. And this is last time I dehydrated it was July 2022. This is so you can see what dehydrated potatoes look like. So I use them mainly for scalloped potatoes, au gratin potatoes and onions on top of the stove. So to rehydrate the dehydrated potatoes, you just soak them in water 20 to 30 minutes before you use them in a recipe. And if you're like making au gratin potatoes, you don't necessarily have to rehydrate them because there's a bunch of liquid in au gratin potatoes. Hey, Danny, you know not to get on the counter. Get back on the bar stool. Okay, I just got to show him the water bottle. Anyway, like say if you use the potatoes in a soup, you don't really necessarily need to rehydrate them because there's plenty of liquid in the soup that's going to rehydrate them. But you can rehydrate them. And then, especially if you want to cut them into strips to make hash browns, you rehydrate them and then they're, soft enough to cut. So first thing is I am going to peel all the potatoes, cut out the bad spots, use my mandolin and cut them into, thin slices. And then I am going to blanch them for 6 minutes before I put them in the dehydrator. And they go in the dehydrator for 6 to 8 hours. This is my newer dehydrator that my husband bought me last year. I also feel like I'm going to need a second one. I do have my old one I kept that I will, let's see, that white one right there. I will use it because I think this is just way too many potatoes for just one dehydrator. So yeah, let me get them peeled, and then the blanching is important. So you blanch them in hot water for 6 minutes. If you skip that step, you have the chance of the potatoes are going to turn brown and not pretty looking. And they're still edible, they're just not pretty. And we all want to eat pretty food. So these are blanched before I dehydrated them. So it's not a step I recommend skipping, but you can if you want to save time. These containers that I store my dehydrated potatoes in, I got them at Dollar Tree, back in 2022. Don't know if they still carry them. I've got plenty, but that's what I like to store dry goods in. And I had to grab my Kleenexes because my sinuses, as you can tell by my voice, my sinuses are killing me right now. All right, so I just cut off the end. And yeah, I don't have a guard. I will not go all the way down to the end so I don't accidentally cut my fingers off. I like them thin. Those are just pieces. Let me do another one. Try to get it even. I like it thin like that. And then when it gets too close to the bottom and I don't want to risk my hand, I just take a fork and use that as my guard. Oh, I'm not pressing hard enough. This was just pieces. And I throw that away. Okay, I got uneven. Okay, here we go. It was just cutting pieces because it was uneven. Let's try again. There we go. That's what we want. And then I do have a little waste because this is as far as I'm gonna go. So that just gets thrown away. I could save it for a stew or something, but I'm not going to. But you get the idea. And I'm putting them in water as I'm waiting, just to soak some of the starch out and so they don't start browning. And then I have a pot of water on the stove, and once it starts boiling, I will blanch these for 6 minutes. The first dehydrator is full, so I layered it. I'm definitely going to be using my second dehydrator because it made a lot more potatoes. These are after I did blanch it for 6 minutes. And I have it at high. Right now it's reading 95, but once it warms up, it needs to be 145 for some pages say 4 to 6 hours, some say 6 to 8. It's been a while, but I vaguely remember it being 6, but we'll find out. Here I am just blanching it. I just put it in the water, so it was boiling, but you know when you put something in water, it stops boiling for a second. Once it starts reboiling, 6 minutes. My second dehydrator is completely full. I still have potatoes left. So what the heck is going on right there? It's always a circus in this house. Anyway, I covered it with cold water and I'm gonna stick it in the fridge till the next round. And then I guess I'll just have to do, after these are done in 6 to 8 hours, I guess I'll just have to do another round. Seriously, Herman, what are you doing? He's chasing his own tail. He's chasing his own tail. It's been about an hour and a half. And so one thing I will do is I will rotate the trays. So the ones, of course, on the bottom get more direct heat. So now that bottom is now going to be the top. And I try to do that every hour, depending on how many shell layers I have. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so every hour I will rotate it. So even though the heat is circulating all the way through it, of course, the most direct heat is the bottom. So those will get done quicker. And I even do that for my older one over there too. All right, it's been 6.5 hours and they are done. I grabbed one of these containers. Last time I used it was June 2022, or I should say the potatoes were from June 2022. Just like that container. So this one. And now I'm just gonna put them all in here. So this dehydrator is taking a little longer. It is an older model. The temperature is probably not as high as the new one Robert got me. And then once it's done, I will turn it off and I will wait at least a half hour for them to cool completely before I stick them in the container. If you just put them hot in the container and seal it with a lid, it's gonna create moisture and we don't want that. What do you want?
Hi.
I always want something. Such a demanding cat. Anyway, that dehydrator is just a half. So that was what, four potatoes? Don't quote me on measurements, but I feel like the last time I made scalloped potatoes, like I consider 1 cup of dehydrated potatoes before I rehydrate them equals a potato. So if I want to do a dish, I usually need 2 cups. So I'll take 2 cups and then I'll rehydrate them.